Have you ever wondered what the real secret to success is? It's not about luck, timing, or who you know. It's about one simple thing that changed my life, and I believe it can change yours too. I'm here to tell you that I got rich when I started doing something that at first seemed simple, but it wasn't until I fully committed to it that everything shifted. I'm not talking about some get-rich-quick scheme or shortcuts. No, this is about taking control of your life in a way that leads to real, lasting results. If you're tired of feeling stuck, frustrated, or unsure of what the next step is, I want you to stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what you need to do to start turning things around and seeing the results you've been hoping for. I'm going to break it all down for you, the mindset, the actions, and the habits that made the difference. So if you're ready for change, ready to step up, and ready to stop waiting for things to just happen, then this video is for you. Let's get into it. Number 1, start with a strong opening statement. Getting rich doesn't just happen by chance. It starts with a decision, one simple yet powerful decision to stop settling for what's easy and start doing what's necessary. Let me tell you something, the moment everything changed for me wasn't when I saw money in the bank or landed a big opportunity. It was the moment I decided to take control of my life. That's when I started to see real progress. For a long time, I was stuck in the same routine. Working hard, doing my job, and hoping things would magically improve. I thought if I just put in enough hours, life would eventually reward me. I thought someday someone would notice my effort and give me a chance. But it didn't happen. And let me tell you why it doesn't work that way. The truth hit me one day when someone asked me a question that completely changed my perspective. They said, "Why don't you have more than you've got?" I gave them a simple answer. I said, "Because this is all I've earned so far." And do you know what they said to me? They said, "Exactly. If you want more, you have to become more." That moment stayed with me. I realized I was waiting for something external to change while ignoring the fact that the real change needed to happen inside me. Nothing in your life will change until you change. That's the key. So I made a choice. I stopped waiting for the perfect conditions, stopped blaming the economy, and stopped hoping someone else would fix things for me. I made a commitment to myself to take full responsibility for where I was in life and where I wanted to go. That decision was the turning point. Now, maybe you're in a similar situation. Maybe you're working hard, doing what you've been told to do, but you're not seeing the results you want. Maybe you're feeling stuck, waiting for something to happen. Here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. If you want your life to change, you have to make it happen. It starts with a simple decision. Ask yourself, what can I do today to take a step forward? Don't overthink it. Don't get caught up in whether it's the perfect step. Just start. When I decided to change, I began asking myself better questions. Instead of asking, "Why isn't this working?" I asked, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of thinking, "I hope someone gives me a chance," I asked, "How can I create my own opportunities?" These questions shifted my mindset. They made me realize that my current circumstances were a reflection of my current habits, my current thinking, and my current actions. If I wanted a better life, I needed to improve those things first. So what does that mean for you? It means taking an honest look at where you are right now. Not to beat yourself up, but to get clear about what needs to change. Look at your habits. Are they helping you grow, or are they keeping you stuck? Look at your skills. Are you continuously learning and improving, or are you relying on the same abilities that got you here? Look at how you spend your time. Are you focused on activities that move you forward, or are you just staying busy? When I started making these changes, everything began to shift. I didn't have all the answers right away, but I took action. I started small, but I stayed consistent. And over time, those small actions added up. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about working harder. Hard work is important, but it's not enough on its own. The world doesn't pay you for how hard you work. It pays you for the value you bring. That's why it's so important to focus on becoming more valuable. How do you do that? By investing in yourself, by learning new skills, gaining new knowledge, and finding ways to solve bigger problems. Wealth isn't about luck or chance, it's about value. The more value you bring to the world, the more wealth you create for yourself. This brings me back to that decision I made. The decision to take full responsibility for my life. To stop blaming external factors and start focusing on what I could control. That decision was the beginning of everything. If you're serious about getting rich, I want to challenge you to make that same decision today. Stop waiting for things to get easier. Stop hoping for someone else to fix your problems. Take responsibility for where you are and commit to doing the work to get where you want to be. Here's the thing, change isn't always comfortable. It requires effort, patience, and persistence. But the rewards are worth it. When you take control of your life, when you commit to growing and improving, you'll start to see results. And let me tell you, the moment you see those first signs of progress, the first time you realize your efforts are paying off, it's one of the most rewarding feelings in the world. It's proof that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. So don't wait. Don't put it off until tomorrow or next week. Make the decision today. Decide to take responsibility for your life, to take action, and to keep moving forward no matter what. Because here's the truth: the day you make that decision, the day you commit to doing the work, that's the day your life starts to change. Take a moment right now and ask yourself, what's one thing I can start doing today to create a better future for myself? Whatever comes to mind, write it down. Then take action. It doesn't matter how small the step is. What matters is that you start. Your journey to wealth doesn't begin with money in the bank. It begins with a choice to do something different. Make that choice today, and you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Number 2, share a personal turning point. There was a time in my life when I felt like nothing was working. I wasn't where I wanted to be financially, emotionally, or even in my personal development. I was working hard, doing what I thought was the right thing, but the results weren't showing up. It was frustrating, and honestly, it was discouraging. I remember asking myself, what am I missing? Why isn't this enough? Then something happened that completely changed my perspective. It wasn't some big, dramatic event. It was a quiet moment, one of those times when life puts a mirror in front of you and forces you to face the truth. I was sitting in a small room, listening to a speaker talk about success and personal growth. He said something that hit me like a lightning bolt. He said, if you don't like where you are, look at the choices you've made. Your life is the result of those choices. I sat there, stunned. I'd never thought about it that way. I'd been blaming my circumstances, my background, and even the economy for where I was. But the truth is, I hadn't been making the kind of choices that would lead to a better life. I was coasting, doing the bare minimum, and hoping that somehow things would just improve on their own. That realization was the turning point for me. It wasn't easy to admit that I was the one holding myself back. But it was also empowering because it meant I had the power to change it. If my choices had gotten me here, then new choices could take me somewhere better. I started thinking about my habits, my routines, and how I was spending my time. And you know what I realized? I wasn't investing in myself. I wasn't reading, learning, or growing. I wasn't surrounding myself with people who challenged me to be better. I was comfortable, too comfortable. And that comfort was keeping me stuck. So I made a decision. I decided to stop making excuses and start taking responsibility. I decided to stop focusing on what I didn't have and start focusing on what I could do. That decision changed everything. One of the first things I did was pick up a book. It was a simple book about personal growth and success, but it opened my eyes to a whole new way of thinking. I realized that success isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create. It's about who you become, not just what you achieve. I started to see opportunities everywhere. Instead of thinking, I can't afford this, I began asking, how can I afford this? Instead of saying, I don't have time, I asked, how can I make time? Those small shifts in thinking had a massive impact on my life. But let me be clear, it wasn't easy. Change is never easy, especially when you've been stuck in the same patterns for years. There were times when I felt overwhelmed, when the old habits and excuses tried to pull me back. But I kept reminding myself of that turning point, that moment when I realized I had the power to create a different life. I also started surrounding myself with people who inspired me. I looked for mentors, people who were where I wanted to be, and I learned from them. I listened to their stories, their struggles, and their strategies. And I began to see that success wasn't just for a select few. It was available to anyone who was willing to do the work, including me. One of the most important lessons I learned during that time was the power of consistency. It's not about doing everything at once, it's about doing small things every day that move you closer to your goals. I started setting aside time each morning to read and reflect. I began writing down my goals and revisiting them regularly. I made a habit of taking at least one step every day toward the life I wanted to create. Those small actions, repeated over time, led to big changes. I started to see progress in areas where I'd been stuck for years. My confidence grew, my mindset shifted, and opportunities began to show up, opportunities I wouldn't have even noticed before because I wasn't ready for them. Looking back, I can tell you that the turning point wasn't about money or success or recognition. It was about realizing that I was in control of my life. It was about deciding to stop waiting for someone else to fix things and start taking responsibility for my own future. If you're feeling stuck right now, I want to encourage you to look at your own turning point. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be as simple as deciding to stop making excuses or picking up a book that challenges your thinking. The important thing is to make the decision. Ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today to start creating a better future for myself? It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's making a commitment to learn something new. Maybe it's reaching out to someone who inspires you. Maybe it's taking a hard look at your habits and deciding to change just one of them. Whatever it is, take that step. Don't wait for the perfect time because the perfect time will never come. The best time to start is now. That turning point for me wasn't just about realizing what needed to change. It was about taking action to make that change happen. And I can promise you this, when you take that first step, you'll start to see possibilities you never noticed before. You'll feel a sense of empowerment that comes from knowing you're in control of your own life. So if you're ready to change your life, start today. Make that decision. Take that first step. And keep moving forward, one step at a time. Number 3, emphasize the importance of mindset. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever had the thought, if I could just get lucky, if I could just get the right opportunity, everything would be better? If you've ever thought that way, you're not alone. I've been there. We all have moments when we feel like we're waiting for something outside of us to change in order for things to get better. But here's the truth. The biggest thing that will determine your success is not your circumstances, not your job, not even the economy. It's your mindset. Your mindset shapes how you see the world, how you approach challenges, and ultimately how you build the life you want. I didn't realize how important mindset was until I started paying attention to my own thoughts and attitudes. I remember, not long ago, I was constantly thinking about what wasn't working in my life. I would focus on the things that were missing, the things I couldn't control. I thought the key to success was out there somewhere, just waiting for me to find it. But then something clicked. I began to realize that the way I was thinking was actually holding me back. I was focusing on the negative, on what wasn't going right, rather than focusing on what I could change, improve, or create. The more I thought that way, the more stuck I became. Then I learned a simple, yet powerful idea. It's not what happens to you that matters most, it's how you react to it. That realization changed everything for me. Once I understood that, I began to shift my thinking. I started focusing on what I could control, my attitude, my effort, my actions. And as I began to shift my mindset, I started to see opportunities everywhere. One of the first things I had to change was my thinking about failure. In the past, I'd seen failure as something to be avoided at all costs. I thought if I failed, it meant I wasn't good enough or that I was doing something wrong. But as I learned more, I realized that failure is simply part of the process. Every successful person you know has failed at some point. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they respond to failure. I stopped fearing failure. Instead, I started seeing it as feedback. When something didn't work, I would ask myself, what can I learn from this? Instead of giving up, I adjusted, improved, and tried again. And the more I adopted this mindset, the more successful I became. But mindset isn't just about how you handle failure. It's also about how you handle success. Some people experience a little bit of success and they let it go to their heads. They get complacent. They stop pushing. And that's when things begin to slide backward. When you have the right mindset, you understand that success isn't an end goal. It's a journey. You keep improving, learning, and growing. The moment you stop learning is the moment you stop progressing. And this goes beyond just business or career. It applies to all areas of life, relationships, health, personal development. If your mindset isn't aligned with growth, it doesn't matter how much talent you have, how much money you make, or how many opportunities come your way. You'll always find a way to sabotage your success. Now, let's talk about one of the most powerful shifts in mindset I made. It's this: stop thinking like a victim. You have to stop believing that the world is out to get you or that life isn't fair. Yes, life can be tough. Yes, there will be challenges. But the truth is, nobody owes you anything. The only person who can change your life is you. Once I realized this, everything changed. I stopped blaming external circumstances. I stopped looking at my past, my environment, or my lack of resources as reasons for why I couldn't move forward. Instead, I began to ask myself, what can I do today to move closer to my goals? That simple shift in thinking was a game changer. It empowered me to take control of my life. I wasn't waiting for the right opportunity to show up. I started creating opportunities. I wasn't waiting for someone to give me permission to succeed. I gave myself permission. This is where mindset truly becomes powerful. When you have the right mindset, you stop waiting for things to change. You start changing yourself. You start making the most of what you have, where you are, with what you know. One of the biggest misconceptions people have about mindset is that it's something you either have or you don't. That's simply not true. Mindset is something you can develop, just like any other skill. It takes practice, it takes time, but it's something you can improve every single day. The key is consistency. Every time you choose to focus on what's going right, every time you choose to see failure as an opportunity to learn, every time you choose to take responsibility for your own life, you're strengthening your mindset. The more I practiced this, the more my life started to change. I started waking up each day with a sense of purpose and direction. I stopped letting fear or doubt hold me back. I stopped worrying about what others thought, and the results showed up. My relationships improved, my finances improved, and I began to live a life that felt truly meaningful. But the truth is, it wasn't magic. It wasn't because I had some secret formula. It was because I changed the way I thought about everything. I changed how I saw myself, how I saw challenges, and how I saw success. If you're not where you want to be right now, I want you to take a step back and think about your mindset. Are you focusing on what you can control? Are you viewing challenges as opportunities? Are you taking full responsibility for where you are in life? The good news is, if your mindset is holding you back, you can change it. You don't have to wait for the right moment. You don't need any special tools. All you need is the willingness to shift your thinking and take action. When you change your mindset, you change your life. It may not happen overnight, but with time, consistency, and the right attitude, your life will start to transform in ways you never thought possible. So today, take a step in the right direction. Decide that from this moment on, you'll begin to think like a person who is already successful. Start focusing on what you can control. Start seeing every challenge as a chance to grow. And start taking responsibility for the life you're creating. Your mindset is everything. It's the key to unlocking your potential and building the life you want. So make the decision today to embrace a mindset of growth and watch how your world begins to shift. Number 4, focus on taking responsibility. If you want to get rich, if you want to live a successful life, it all starts with taking responsibility. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's obvious, right? But hear me out, because what it may sound simple, it's one of the most looked truths when it comes to success. The truth is, most people are waiting for someone else to make things better for them. We blame the economy, we blame our boss, we blame our upbringing, we blame the government. And trust me, I get it, life can be tough sometimes. But if you continue to blame everything and everyone around you, You're never going to take control of your own destiny. You see, responsibility means taking ownership of your life. It means understanding that everything you are, everything you have, and everything you're becoming is because of the choices you've made or the choices you haven't made. It's about realizing that you have the power to change your circumstances, regardless of what's happened to you in the past. Let me share something personal with you. Early on in my life, I struggled. I faced financial challenges. I had a lot of doubt about my future, and I felt stuck. But at one point, I had an epiphany. I realized that if I kept blaming everything around me, I would never get anywhere. I had to take responsibility. Now, taking responsibility doesn't mean beating yourself up for past mistakes. It's not about self-criticism or guilt. What it means is that you stop giving your power away. You stop thinking that someone else is going to fix things for you. You stop waiting for the perfect time or the right opportunity to show up. Instead, you take full ownership of where you are and you commit to doing whatever it takes to get where you want to be. I remember a time when I was trying to grow my business. Things weren't going the way I wanted, and I could have easily blamed my circumstances. I could have blamed my lack of experience, my lack of money, or even the economy. But instead, I asked myself, what can I do right now to make a change? I looked for opportunities, I found ways to improve, and I took the necessary steps to move forward. That moment changed everything for me. I stopped being a victim of my circumstances and started being the creator of my own reality. Taking responsibility isn't always easy. In fact, it's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. It requires a shift in mindset. It requires you to let go of the idea that things are happening to you and instead embrace the truth that you are the one in charge of your life. And here's the kicker. When you take responsibility, things start to change. They start to shift in ways you might not expect. Opportunities show up. People start noticing your determination and your confidence grows because you know you're taking charge. But here's the challenge. There are two types of people in this world, those who take responsibility and those who don't. The people who don't, they're the ones who are always complaining, always blaming, and always making excuses. They're stuck in the same place because they haven't taken ownership of their own lives. The people who do take responsibility, on the other hand, are the ones who are moving forward. They're the ones who are building something, who are growing, who are taking action, and who are seeing results. And it's not because they're lucky or have some magical formula. It's because they've made the decision to take responsibility for their actions and their future. Now, this doesn't mean you have to do everything by yourself. It doesn't mean that you're not allowed to ask for help or seek guidance. What it means is that you recognize you are the one who must take action. You are the one who must make the changes. You are the one who must make the decision to move forward. Taking responsibility is the first step in building a life of success. It means you stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. It means you stop feeling sorry for yourself and start feeling empowered. It means you stop hoping that things will improve on their own and start taking intentional steps to create the life you want. Let's talk about how you can start taking responsibility today. The first thing is to stop blaming your circumstances. Yes, things may be tough. Yes, things may not be ideal. But the moment you shift your focus away from blame and towards solutions, you start to take control. Ask yourself, what can I do today to improve my situation? What small action can you take right now to move you closer to your goals? It could be something as simple as learning a new skill, reaching out to someone for advice, or setting a goal that's realistic and achievable. You have to stop waiting for the world to change around you. You have to take action. It's only when you start taking responsibility for your actions that things will begin to shift. Here's another way to look at it. If you're constantly blaming others, you're giving away your power. You're saying, I have no control. It's all someone else's fault. But when you take responsibility, you're claiming your power. You're saying, I have the ability to create the life I want. And when you truly believe that, everything begins to change. Taking responsibility is not about being perfect. It's about being proactive. It's about knowing that you're in charge of your life and that you can change it one step at a time. I want you to understand that success doesn't just happen to people who are lucky or who have the perfect situation. Success happens to those who take responsibility for their lives. It happens to those who are willing to put in the work, make the changes, and take control. When you decide to take responsibility for your life, you stop being a passenger and become the driver. You stop being controlled by circumstances and start controlling your own destiny. And that's when your life will begin to take shape in the way you've always dreamed. So today, take responsibility. Take responsibility for where you are, for where you're going, and for the person you want to become. I don't wait for someone else to make it happen. Don't wait for the perfect circumstances. You're in control. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll start living the life you deserve. Taking responsibility is a powerful decision. It's the decision to take charge of your future, to stop waiting, and to start creating. And once you make that decision, nothing can stop you. Number 5, highlight the power of consistency. If you've ever wondered what it truly takes to achieve success, let me tell you the key is consistency. Success doesn't come from a one-time effort. It doesn't come from working hard for a week or a month and then taking a break. No, the real secret to building wealth, improving your life, and achieving your goals is all about consistency. Now, I know that might sound simple, but I want you to really think about it. Most people get excited at the beginning of a new venture. Whether it's a new job, a new business, or a new workout routine, the first few days or weeks are filled with energy and motivation. But what happens after the novelty wears off? The truth is, the initial excitement fades. The grind sets in. And this is where most people give up. They stop showing up. They stop putting in the work. And that's where they fail. Here's what I've learned. It's not about who starts the strongest. It's about who shows up every single day without fail. That's how you win. You don't have to be the best, the smartest, or the most talented. You just have to be the most consistent. When I first started my journey, I was far from perfect. I made mistakes. I didn't have all the answers. But there was one thing I did right. I kept showing up. Every day I put in the work. I kept learning. I kept taking action, even when things didn't seem to be moving forward as quickly as I wanted. And eventually, those small actions compounded into big results. It wasn't magic. It was consistency. So let me ask you, how consistent are you? When things get tough, do you keep going? When you face challenges, do you double down or do you throw in the towel? Success isn't just about being talented or having a great idea. It's about sticking to it, even when the going gets tough. Because when you keep going, even when you feel like giving up, you start to build momentum. And that momentum carries you further than you ever thought possible. I've seen so many people who had the potential to succeed but gave up too soon. They started strong, but when they didn't see immediate results, they quit. They didn't realize that success is a process. It's a journey, not a destination. And in that journey, consistency is what will carry you through. You see, it's the small things you do every day that make all the difference. It's about showing up, putting in the effort, and continuing to move forward, even when it feels like nothing is changing. You won't see the big results overnight, but if you're consistent, they will come. Think about it like this. If you go to the gym once or twice, you won't see much of a difference. But if you show up every day, over time, you will see results. The same goes for your business, your career, or your personal growth. The key is to keep showing up, even when the results aren't immediate. I've had days where I didn't feel like working, where I felt discouraged, or where I doubted myself. But what I've learned is that it's in those moments when consistency is the most important. When you push through the hard times, when you keep going, even when it's tough, that's when you start to build the habits and discipline that lead to long-term success. The people who succeed are the ones who keep showing up. They don't quit when things get hard. They don't stop when they don't see instant results. They understand that success takes time, and they're willing to put in the work, day in and day out. And here's the thing, success isn't just about what you do on the big days. It's about what you do on the ordinary days. It's about how you spend your time when no one is watching, when there's no immediate reward or recognition. It's about putting in the work when it's hard, when it feels like you're not getting anywhere. That's when your character is built. I know it can be tempting to look for shortcuts, to hope for a quick fix or a fast way to success. But let me tell you, there are no shortcuts. The only way to achieve long-lasting success is through consistent effort. It's the small daily actions repeated over time that lead to big changes. So how do you make consistency work for you? First, you need to develop habits that support your goals. Habits are the foundation of consistency. When you make something a habit, it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it, you just do it. Whether it's working on your business every day, reading every morning, or exercising every evening, when you make consistency a habit, it becomes easier to stick with it. Next, you need to focus on progress, not perfection. The goal isn't to be perfect, it's to improve. Every day you show up and do the work, you're getting better. Every small action adds up over time. And those small actions eventually lead to big results. And lastly, you have to be patient. Success doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. But if you're consistent, you'll start to see the rewards. Let me tell you something, when I first started, there were no big wins right away. There were no overnight successes, but I kept showing up. I kept working. I kept learning. And over time, things started to happen. It wasn't a sudden breakthrough. It was the result of consistent effort over a long period. Here's what I want you to understand. The key to success is consistency. It's about showing up every day, doing the work, and trusting that the results will come. It's not about being the smartest or the most talented. It's about being the one who keeps going day after day, no matter what. If you want to achieve your goals, if you want to build wealth, if you want to live the life of your dreams, consistency is the way. It's the simple, everyday actions that lead to extraordinary results. So stop looking for shortcuts, stop waiting for the perfect moment, and just keep showing up. Because when you do, success will find you. Number 6, talk about investing in yourself. One of the most important decisions I ever made was to invest in myself. And I'm not just talking about putting money into things like stocks, real estate, or even a business. I'm talking about investing in your mind, your skills, your growth, yourself. Too many people go through life waiting for someone else to help them or give them what they want. But the truth is, no one is going to do it for you. You have to take responsibility for your own future. And that starts with investing in yourself. When I was starting out, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know how to make the right choices, how to build a business, or how to grow as a person. But I knew one thing: if I didn't invest in myself, I wouldn't get anywhere. So I made the commitment to learn, to improve, and to constantly grow. I started reading books, listening to audios, attending seminars, and surrounding myself with people who were already where I wanted to be. Every time I learned something new, I felt more confident. Every new piece of knowledge, every new skill, helped me move closer to the success I was working for. Now, let me tell you, this is not a quick fix. This isn't about finding a shortcut. This is a lifelong process. It's about making the decision today to put in the work and keep improving every day. It's so easy to think that you need to wait for the right time, or wait for someone to give you permission to improve. But that's not how it works. The best time to invest in yourself is right now. Think about it. Every single day, you have an opportunity to learn something new, to improve a skill, or to grow as a person. If you make that a priority every single day, over time, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. When I first started investing in myself, it wasn't always easy. I didn't always have the money to attend every seminar or buy every book one wanted, but I made sacrifices. I cut back on things that didn't serve me, and I redirected that energy and money into learning and growing. It wasn't always comfortable. There were times I felt overwhelmed. There were times I doubted myself. But here's what I realized: the discomfort of growth is far less painful than the discomfort of staying stuck. You have to invest in your knowledge, your health, and your skills, because these are the things that will pay off over time. A college degree might get you a job, But the real power comes from the knowledge and skills you continue to build every day. You see, there's no limit to what you can achieve when you invest in yourself. Your potential is unlimited. The only thing holding you back is the belief that you can't grow or improve. Let me ask you, how much money do you spend on things that don't help you grow? How much time do you waste on things that don't add value to your life? I'm not saying you should never enjoy life or treat yourself, but I want you to think about your priorities. Are you spending your time and money on things that help you grow and become the person you want to be? For me, investing in myself was the game changer. It allowed me to build skills that set me apart from others. It opened doors to new opportunities. And it gave me the confidence to take on challenges that I would have never thought possible. But here's something I want to make clear: investing in yourself isn't always about money. It's about time. Time is your most valuable resource. And when you invest your time in learning, developing new habits, and improving yourself, the return on that investment is incredible. When you commit to learning something new every day, it doesn't just affect your career. It affects your life. It affects the way you think, the way you act, and the way you interact with others. So what does it look like to invest in yourself? It could be as simple as setting aside 30 minutes each day to read a book or listen to an audio that teaches you something valuable. It could mean learning a new skill that will help you in your career or business. It could mean taking care of your body, exercising regularly, eating healthy, and getting enough sleep so you have the energy to pursue your goals. Whatever it is, make the commitment today to start investing in yourself. It's never too late. You don't have to wait for the perfect time. You don't have to wait for someone else to give you permission. The time is now. When you invest in yourself, you're setting yourself up for success. You're building the foundation for everything you want in life. And the best part is, no one can take that away from you. The knowledge, the skills, the experiences you gain, they stay with you forever. And here's the most powerful part: when you invest in yourself, you start to believe in yourself. You start to see the possibilities. You start to understand that there is no limit to what you can achieve. I want to leave you with this thought: success isn't about finding the right opportunities. It's about becoming the right person. When you invest in yourself, you're becoming the person who can create those opportunities. So take a moment right now and think about how you're investing in yourself. What are you doing today that will make you better tomorrow? The answers to those questions will determine your future. Invest in yourself, because no one else can do it for you. The more you invest, the more you'll grow. And the more you grow, the more success you'll create in your life. Number 7, prioritize the power of discipline. If you want to be successful, if you want to get rich, if you want to reach any kind of goal, discipline is the key. I've seen it firsthand. The people who succeed the most aren't always the smartest or the most talented, but they are the ones who can stick to their plan, do the work consistently, and stay focused no matter what life throws their way. In my own journey, I've learned that discipline is what separates those who dream from those who do. It's easy to talk about goals, to make plans, and get excited about the future. But what happens when the excitement fades? What happens when things get tough? That's when discipline kicks in. You see, we all face challenges. We all have moments when we feel tired, discouraged, or overwhelmed. It's natural. But the question is, how do you handle those moments? Most people give up. They let temporary setbacks control their future. But those who have discipline understand something very important. Setbacks are just part of the process. They don't define you unless you let them. It's your response to those challenges that makes all the difference. In the beginning, when I started my journey, I had a lot of dreams and ideas, but I wasn't getting results. I was excited, but I wasn't disciplined. I would start projects, get distracted, and leave things unfinished. I realized quickly that if I didn't develop discipline, I would never get where I wanted to go. The thing is, discipline isn't about doing things perfectly. It's not about never making mistakes or never facing difficulties. Discipline is about sticking to your commitments, no matter how hard things get. It's about following through, even when you don't feel like it. It's about showing up every day and doing the work, whether you're in the mood or not. I'm sure you've heard the saying, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. That's discipline. It's doing the little things consistently, even when no one is watching, even when it feels like it's not making a difference. But over time, those small efforts add up, and that's when you start to see real change. Discipline means developing habits that move you closer to your goals. It means not letting your feelings control your actions. We all have days when we feel tired or unmotivated. But successful people don't wait for motivation to strike. They create it through disciplined actions. I can't tell you how many times I've wanted to quit or how many times I felt like I wasn't making any progress, but I stayed disciplined. I kept doing the work, even when it didn't feel like it was paying off. And over time, those small, disciplined actions began to build momentum. Now, let me be clear, discipline isn't always easy. It takes work. It takes commitment. But it's also incredibly rewarding. The more disciplined you become, the more you realize that you are in control of your future. Discipline gives you power. It gives you the ability to stay focused and take consistent action toward your goals, no matter how long it takes. One thing I've learned is that discipline isn't just about working hard. It's about working smart too. It's about making sure that the work you're doing is aligned with your goals and that you're prioritizing the right things. Sometimes we think we need to be busy all the time, but true discipline is knowing what to focus on and staying consistent in those areas. For example, when I was starting out, I had to learn to prioritize my time. I had to learn to say no to things that weren't helping me grow and say yes to things that would move me forward. I couldn't afford to waste time on distractions. I had to make every minute count. And that's the power of discipline. It helps you stay focused on what matters. It helps you avoid distractions and keep your eyes on the prize. The more disciplined you become, the easier it is to make decisions that align with your goals. Now, let's talk about habits for a moment. Discipline isn't just a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. The more you practice discipline, the more it becomes a part of who you are. You start to develop positive habits that support your growth and success. When you make discipline a priority, you start to notice how much more you can achieve. You start to feel proud of yourself, not because of the big wins, but because of your ability to stay committed to the process. Here's the truth. You can't rely on motivation to get things done. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. But discipline is steady. It's the foundation of everything successful people do. When you develop the discipline to take consistent action, success becomes inevitable. Think about it. If you just took one small action every day toward your goal, how much would that add up over a month, over a year? It's the power of discipline that makes those small actions turn into something big. And here's the beauty of it. Once you start seeing the results of your disciplined actions, it becomes easier to keep going. You start to develop momentum, and it starts to feel almost effortless. You've trained your mind to focus on the right things, and now your actions are automatic. So, if you want to get rich, if you want to achieve your goals, you have to prioritize discipline. Don't rely on motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just commit to taking consistent action every single day. Stick to your plan. Keep showing up and trust the process. In the end, success isn't about doing one big thing. It's about doing the right things day in and day out. And the only way to do that is through discipline. Number 8, warn against instant gratification. One of the biggest traps I see people fall into, especially when they're starting out on their journey to success, is the desire for instant gratification. We live in a world where everything is available at the push of a button. We've got fast food, streaming services, next day delivery. It's all designed to give us what we want when we want it. And while that convenience is great in many areas of life, it can be a huge problem when it comes to building real success. Let me tell you something important. Success doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that's handed to you on a silver platter. In fact, the very nature of success is built on delayed gratification, the ability to resist the urge to seek immediate rewards in exchange for long-term growth and fulfillment. When I first started on my journey, I was no different from most people. I wanted quick results. I thought I could just jump in and within a few months be living the life I dreamed of. But that's not how it works. The path to success isn't fast. And it's not supposed to be. You see, if you want to build something meaningful, whether it's wealth, a business, a fulfilling career, or even a strong relationship, you have to be willing to put in the work and wait for the results. The most successful people you know didn't get there by taking shortcuts or looking for the fastest way to the top. They got there because they put in the time, they made sacrifices, and they didn't quit when things got hard. Here's the thing, instant gratification is a lie. It convinces us that we deserve everything now. It feeds into our natural impulses, making us believe that if we don't have it immediately, then we're missing out. But that mentality keeps us stuck in a cycle of impatience and frustration. You can't build anything of value if you're constantly jumping from one quick fix to another. Let me share with you something that I learned along the way. It's easy to get distracted by the shiny objects, the things that seem like shortcuts to success. But those shortcuts don't lead to lasting results. What they do is distract you from the real work that needs to be done. If you're always looking for the easy way out, you'll never build the strength and discipline that come from sticking with something over the long term. When I started out, I had to be honest with myself. I had to ask myself, was I willing to put in the time? Was I willing to sacrifice short-term pleasures for long-term success? And the answer, looking back, was yes. Because deep down, I knew that success wasn't about the quick win. It was about creating something sustainable, something that would last. If you want to make real progress, you need to stop expecting things to happen overnight. Instead, focus on putting in consistent effort day after day. You won't see results right away, and that's okay. But if you keep going, you'll start to see small wins. And those small wins will start to add up. Over time, you'll be amazed at how much you've accomplished. But none of that will happen if you're too busy chasing after the next quick fix. The truth is, instant gratification is a form of self-sabotage. It may feel good in the moment, but it doesn't get you closer to your goals. In fact, it keeps you stuck in a loop of temporary satisfaction. You might make a quick sale, hit a small target, or experience a momentary victory, but it won't lead to lasting success if you're always looking for the next quick win. I get it. We all want results fast. We want to see progress, and we want to feel good about ourselves. But here's the problem, real. Meaningful success takes time. It's built over years of hard work, mistakes, setbacks, and perseverance. It's not about getting things quickly. It's about getting them right. Think about the successful people you admire. They didn't get there by jumping from one quick win to the next. They built their success brick by brick, often facing setbacks and challenges along the way. They learned to delay their desires for short-term rewards in favor of long-term growth. And that's what you need to do too. It's not about denying yourself everything you want. It's about understanding that true success comes from staying focused on your long-term goals, even when the temptation for instant gratification is strong. It's about making decisions that will benefit you in the future, even if it means giving up a little comfort in the present. If you want to get rich, if you want to build something meaningful, you've got to be patient. You've got to be willing to delay your gratification for the sake of your future success. The rewards will come, but only if you put in the work and stay committed to the long-term process. I can tell you without a doubt that the biggest breakthroughs in my life didn't come from chasing instant results. They came from staying focused on my goals, doing the right things consistently, and not giving up when things got tough. I resisted the urge to go for the quick win and instead focused on the bigger picture. So I challenge you, stop chasing the quick fixes. Stop looking for the shortcuts. Instead, focus on building a foundation for long-term success. Put in the effort, stay consistent, and trust that the results will come. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve when you're willing to delay your gratification and stick to your plan. Remember, success is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And if you're willing to stay the course, to keep working even when it gets hard, the rewards will come. But it won't happen overnight. It will happen because you stayed focused, because you didn't give in to the lure of instant gratification. So keep moving forward and keep your eyes on the prize. Number 9, focus on the joy of solving problems. If you want to get rich, I'll tell you right now, the key isn't just working hard, making money, or even being smart. The real key to wealth and success is solving problems. When you focus on solving problems for people, you will naturally create value, and that's how you build wealth. Think about it. Every business in the world exists to solve a problem. Every successful person got to where they are because they figured out how to solve a problem that was important to others. This could be something big like solving a health crisis, or something small like making someone's life a little easier. But here's the catch. You have to start thinking about problems differently. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, see them as opportunities. Every problem is an opportunity to create value. And when you create value, you're well on your way to success. When I first started, I wasn't looking for a way to make money. I was looking for a way to solve problems. The more problems I solved, the more value I created, and the more money naturally followed. But here's the thing. Solving problems isn't always easy, and it's not always quick. It requires effort, persistence, and a mindset shift. It means understanding that problems are part of life and that overcoming them is what helps you grow. A lot of people run away from problems. They don't want to deal with them. They'd rather avoid the uncomfortable situations that require them to stretch, to think outside the box, and to find solutions. But if you're serious about building wealth, you have to lean into problems, not run from them. The more problems you can solve, the more opportunities you create for yourself. When you start seeing problems as opportunities, it changes everything. You stop worrying about what you can't control and start focusing on what you can solve. And when you get good at solving problems, you become valuable to others. The value you create for others is what drives your success. Let me give you an example. Think about the most successful companies in the world: Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. These companies became successful because they solved problems in a way that no one else had done before. Steve Jobs didn't just make a computer, he created a whole new way of thinking about technology. Bill Gates didn't just create software, he made it easier for people to use computers. Jeff Bezos didn't just build a store, he created an entire online shopping experience that revolutionized how we buy things. Now, you may not be Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, or Jeff Bezos, but that doesn't mean you can't do the same thing in your own way. The principles that made them successful apply to everyone. If you can identify a problem and find a solution that helps people, you're on your way to success. But solving problems isn't just about business, it's about life. Think about the relationships in your life. Are there problems you can solve that would improve those relationships? Are there ways you can bring value to the people around you? If you focus on helping others solve their problems, you'll not only build your own success, but you'll create a life full of meaningful connections and deep fulfillment. One thing I've learned over the years is that the more problems you solve, the more joy you find in the process. At first, it might feel like work. It might feel like a challenge. But once you start solving problems, you begin to enjoy it. There's a deep sense of satisfaction that comes with knowing you've made a difference, that you've helped someone, that you've contributed to making their life better in some way. And that feeling is priceless. So, if you want to get rich, start thinking about problems differently. Stop avoiding them. Stop seeing them as obstacles. Instead, look for ways to solve them. Whether it's a problem in your business, your career, or even in your personal life, there is always an opportunity to create value. And the more value you create, the more success will follow. Don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and dive into the hard work. Understand that solving problems takes time, but the rewards are worth it. When you help others solve their problems, you build trust, credibility, and a reputation that will pay off over the long term. People will come to you because they know you can help them. And that's how you create lasting success. Remember, every problem you encounter is an opportunity in disguise. Don't waste time complaining about it. Don't waste time wishing it wasn't there. Embrace it, work through it, and find a way to solve it. When you start doing that, you'll begin to experience a level of success that you never thought possible. The world is full of problems waiting to be solved. And the person who is willing to take the time to find solutions will be the one who reaps the rewards. So ask yourself today, what problem can I solve? What can I do to make someone's life better? When you start thinking this way, you'll find that success isn't so far out of reach after all. It's right there in front of you, waiting for you to take action. Number 10. Expose the cost of comfort zones. Let me tell you something you might not want to hear. Your comfort zone is the biggest obstacle standing between you and the life you want to live. It's easy to get comfortable. It's easy to stay in a place that feels safe, predictable, and familiar. But the truth is that comfort zone is costing you more than you realize. We all have one. It could be staying in a job you don't love because it's secure. It could be avoiding new opportunities because you're afraid of failure. It could be sticking to the same routine because it's what you know, even though deep down you feel unfulfilled. The comfort zone is the place where growth goes to die. It's where you stop reaching for more and where you settle for less than you're capable of achieving. Now, I'm not saying you need to go out and throw your life into chaos. That's not the point. But if you truly want to get rich, both in financial terms and in life, you have to realize that comfort is a trap. It's easy to think that comfort equals happiness, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Comfort equals stagnation. It equals staying in the same place year after year while the world moves forward. Here's the hard truth. Staying in your comfort zone is costing you your potential. It's costing you the life you could be living. It's costing you the chance to truly make a difference in your own life and the lives of others. It's costing you the opportunity to experience real growth, to learn new things, and to discover just how much you're capable of achieving. I remember when I was starting out, I had a decision to make. I could have stayed in my comfort zone. I could have kept doing what I was doing and lived a predictable, safe life. But deep down, I knew that if I wanted something more, if I wanted to create the life I dreamed of, I had to step out of that comfort zone. It wasn't easy. It wasn't comfortable. But it was the best decision I ever made. I had to take risks. I had to try new things. I had to face my fears and go after opportunities that scared me. And while it wasn't always smooth, the rewards were far beyond what I ever imagined. The moment I stepped out of my comfort zone, my world began to open up. I started seeing new possibilities. I started learning things I never thought I could. I started growing in ways I never expected. You see, when you're stuck in your comfort zone, you're not growing, you're not stretching yourself. You're not becoming the person you need to be to achieve the life you want. And if you want to get rich, if you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Think about it for a second. What would happen if you stopped letting fear control you? What would happen if you took that leap of faith and tried something new? What would happen if you stopped holding back and started chasing your dreams without worrying about how comfortable it felt? This is where real growth happens. It happens when you stop playing it safe. It happens when you push past the fear and doubt and take that first step into the unknown. Yes, it's scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But it's also where the magic happens. It's where your potential becomes reality. And here's the best part. The more you do it, the easier it gets. The more you step outside your comfort zone, the more confident you become. You'll start to realize that the things you once feared are not nearly as scary as you thought. You'll start to embrace the challenges because you know they're the path to your growth and success. But here's the question I want to leave you with today. What is your comfort zone costing you? Is it costing you the opportunity to start that business you've been dreaming about? Is it costing you the chance to build the relationships you desire? Is it costing you the fulfillment you know is waiting for you? If you're not willing to step out of your comfort zone, then you're settling. You're settling for less than you could have. You're settling for mediocrity instead of striving for excellence. And most importantly, you're settling for a life that's less than the one you're truly capable of living. So I challenge you today, step out of that comfort zone. Embrace the discomfort. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Your potential is waiting for you, but it's not going to find you in the comfort zone. It's waiting for you to break free from the ordinary and step into the extraordinary. Ask yourself, what is the cost of staying in my comfort zone? And what would my life look like if I were brave enough to step out of it? The answers to those questions will change everything. And when you start living outside of your comfort zone, you'll find that the rewards, the growth, and the success you're searching for are closer than you ever imagined.